One of the biggest problems emerging managers have is they don't have the know-how or the expertise on how to spend their time. They believe a lot of conventional wisdom when a lot of it's not true. So my name's Costin. I'm the founder, CEO of Dakota. Me and our investment sales team have created a show called the Emerging Manager Growth Show. What we do on this show is we demystify everything that a lot of conventional wisdom comes from. And the whole goal is for an emerging manager to be able to do more with less. And you have a very experienced team in myself, and I have each one of my team members on. We break down all the tips and tricks and techniques for exactly what an investment salesperson and an emerging manager should be doing to help grow their firm. Join us for another Emerging Manager Growth Show. This is one you're not going to want to miss. What is up, everybody? It's Guy Costin, founder, CEO of Dakota, and welcome to masteringsalesforce.com. I'm joined by my colleague, Tim Dolan. Tim, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Of course.
So this show is all about giving you tips and tricks on how to maximize the use of salesforce.com. You might say to yourself, well, why would you guys create this show? Why would you do this show? Well, Dakota Marketplace, we have over 1,100 investment firms, and 65% of those firms use Salesforce. Okay, we use Salesforce. It's an amazing tool. So we wanted to be able to create a show just to reinforce, because Salesforce gets a bad rep, right, Tim? That's kind of the deal, right? They get a bad rep.
Most CRMs do.
Yeah, and it's not, Salesforce is amazing.
Yep.
I mean, it's the most unbelievable tool on the planet. We've used it, I always say, it's like, if you use Salesforce, it's basically free,
Yep.
right? Because the value, if you configure it properly and you set it up properly, it's almost free,
Yep.
right? But it gets a bad rap. It gets a bad rap because, as we just said, bad configuration, bad data, those two things.
Yep.
We're here to debunk those myths and those problems, to walk you through how to properly utilize it to get this insane efficiency and really have it run your sales organization in the most efficient way. Now, Tim, you know my Rainmaker podcast, right?
Yes.
I have some of the most phenomenal distribution leaders on the planet. When I come to my CRM section, what do they typically say about the CRM?
I mean, one, they kind of smile and laugh and chuckle, right? Because, I mean, we know why it's so important. They know why it's so important, right? It's just getting that adoption, right? Debunking those myths. But it's leverage. It's all about leverage and scale, right? Especially for a sales manager, it's scalability. For the salesperson, it's leverage, and it's ways to create sales actions, sales triggers, right? Run certain reports, right? Slice and dice data based off certain fields and information. So yeah, it's funny how at the end of the day they're all using it the same way in kind of different styles, but I think everybody wants to use it even more and more.
Yeah, and I think what we learn is the best distribution leaders, right, quote, if it's not in Salesforce, it didn't exist.
Exactly.
But I think, Tim, why that's such an important distinction around this conversation today about masteringsalesforce.com is that those are the biggest and best distribution leaders, the best distribution organizations. That's their belief system.
Yep.
However, as we know, there's a lot of people listening to this that aren't those big distributors, and they might be one-person sales organizations.
But that's the thing with a CRM is, and you can punch a lot above your weight, or bigger, heavier than your weight, or above your weight, right? Even if you're a smaller firm,
yeah.
The CRM allows you to act and behave like some of these behemoth asset managers.
But you have to do it in the right way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's just get back to, because a lot of people listening right now are like, well, this Excel spreadsheet works fine. I've got a yellow pad, maybe some sticky notes. I use my iPhone. I use my calendar. There's that whole thing, right? And what we're here to talk about is simply using it in a proper way, which is actually very fundamentally simple, can be a 10x game changer in your efficiency and your productivity.
Absolutely. I mean, we all see it on our iPhone in our pocket or Android, whatever you have, right? A new app comes out and it's a little uncomfortable, but 2 weeks later, you know exactly how to use it. Right? This is no different than with the CRM, right? You get the appropriate configuration, the appropriate data in there, and then once you start using it, it takes maybe 5 days max, and then it will exponentially enhance your day-to-day.
Right. So for those who don't know, Tim, right, Dakota was founded in 2006. We've been a third-party marketer, raised over $25 billion, 9 salespeople in the field today, raising capital, using Salesforce. In 2019, we commercialized our database, created Dakota Marketplace using Salesforce.com and the Salesforce platform. Today, we have 1,100 plus investment firms, 5,000 fundraisers using the platform. We are massive, massive believers in a CRM. In our case, we love Salesforce, the reporting capability, everything about it. But let's zero in. Then we also created what I would say is the killer app of all time, which is our Salesforce app for Dakota Marketplace. You can literally download our Salesforce app into your Salesforce org and have the entirety of our Dakota Marketplace product in your Salesforce org with everything, fundraising news, job changes, accounts, contacts, performance, manager decks, everything in one place. But the reason Salesforce doesn't get adopted, the reason a lot of people listening right now, they're frustrated, right? Because they're like, guys, I've used this, I'm a single person, I have this small team, it's all messed up, we hired this consultant, they mangled it, the data's bad, all this other stuff, right? So number one, we have to have a little compassion for the listeners who have gone down the path of getting it right out of the box. They try to configure it, it doesn't work. They hire a consultant to configure it, it doesn't work. So we know number one, configuration is of utmost importance.
Yeah, and it's crucial because a lot of you all, and right, all of our subscribers, we are in the financial services, investment sales business, right? But Salesforce caters to all sorts of industries and end users. But we need a Salesforce CRM that makes sense for our business and our industry. And I think with the Salesforce app and Dakota Marketplace, the configuration, the why it's so beautiful is the configuration is done for you.
Yeah.
And it sits side by side with what you already have if you already have data. But that is one
but without, I don't want to make this, I don't want to make a total commercial for our Salesforce app, because if configuration is the problem. Okay, one, we have the solution with our Salesforce app. Two, if you choose not to, if you choose not to use the Salesforce app, that's fine. But getting it configured properly with a few key fields is absolutely critical.
Yep.
And then number two, right, another reason it doesn't get adopted or a CRM is useless, or in this case, people get angry at Salesforce, is stale data.
Exactly.
Which I kind of laugh about because, right, of course, no one's going to like a CRM, but most data is stale, and who's going to update it? Nobody. Thus, it gets frustrating. So you log in, it's not configured properly, so the user interface design is bad. A lot of irrelevant fields, makes no sense. You can't get what you're looking for. Then when you do find something you're looking for, that person has left the firm 2 years ago, so you have stale data. So you have two very simple things: bad configuration, bad user interface design, stale sales contact data.
Yep.
Right? Two biggest issues.
Exactly.
All right. So number one, our Salesforce app solves that problem in the App Exchange. So more to come on that. But Tim, let's talk about sort of the cost, if you will, to a salesperson for not just sort of marshaling through and making Salesforce.com part of your day-to-day life and running your business.
Yeah.
Because you can utilize it, just getting some of the basic fields, going in, deleting all the fields that aren't relevant. And when we talk about sort of the core fields on an account screen, right? AUM.
Mm-hmm. The type, the
account
the
type is
address,
critical.
where they're located, website, phone number, right? Basic account information. Again, we can get into some of the fields that we create specific to our industry, but the basic information that you need.
And deleting, very easy to delete fields that aren't relevant. So you really, number one, when you're thinking about configuring Salesforce.com, if you don't use our Salesforce app, which does all that for you, you want to make sure you delete all the fields that are not relevant and only keep the fields that are relevant.
Yeah.
And then, so we just talked about the basic fields. Let's talk about the golden field.
Yeah.
That has to exist at the account screen, which you can do day one of getting Salesforce out of the box. Once you unwrap it, you can create this custom field as a drop-down menu. name of your product with 7
of the sales cycles.
Right.
So this goes hand in hand with our Rainmaker show and Rainmaker podcast discussing the golden field, but this easily allows you to see against every single account in your Salesforce and the accounts in your TAM that you're calling on, where you exactly stand against those accounts, right? So those sales cycle fields, right, because you created those 7 values within there, the product and sales cycle, you can now run reports across all different types of accounts and channels and size, and you can slice the dice. I think that's a big statement, kind of switching gears of why the CRM is so powerful, is because all of the data that you put in and all the fields, the appropriate fields, and you get it configured properly, you can run these reports that are across contacts and opportunities and activities and pipelines and accounts where all of it's related. Right. And so once you get kind of the configuration done, and that's the pain point that we touch on, the power of the CRM is the ability to run these reports in an instant that you cannot do in Excel or on a yellow pad of paper.
If we sat down and said, okay, what are the fields that you need to be successful? So number one, you need the account type field, filled out by channels. You need to have RAs, public pension funds, consultants, banks, broker-dealers, family offices, foundations, endowments, insurance companies. Okay, so you need the account types and then have all of your accounts categorized properly. AUM, of course, geography, critical.
Yeah.
You can't have metro area because that would be too hard to program, but you want to be able to have the city and the address, which is so you can run those reports. That's if you don't use Dakota Marketplace or the Salesforce app.
Yeah.
And then you need your golden field, which allows you to categorize where you stand against any of the given accounts in your database so you can run reports based upon RA's Boston, so city equals Boston, account type equals RAA, and then golden field, if you will, the drop-down menu of that product, and you group it all together, you can see who's in prospecting, who's in red zone, who's in due diligence, et cetera.
One more I would add is we call it internally rating. It might not be the best name for it, but it effectively is the quality of the relationship with that account. Right, so we define it as a rating, which a tier 1 is
rate the relationship where we stand.
Top relationship. Tier 2 is we're connected, but kind of not. We're not best friends yet, sort of thing. But we've met with them. Tier 3 is a qualified prospect. Tier 4 is prospecting, and then Tier 5 is not a fit. Right, nice people, we know them, but they're never going to buy what we sell. So we'll keep them in the CRM. Things could change over time, but the rating field is also important as well, because obviously you want to continue to grow the number of 1s and 2s, the people that you're connected. And so running reports on, all right, who are my qualified prospects? Who have I not reached out to? So the rating field I would add in as well in the account screen.
So custom field is assets under management. The account type customized with the proper, delete all of the irrelevant account types, only put the relevant account types, which I just went through, and you all know the channels are a multi-family office, bank, broker-dealer, consultant, public pension fund, et cetera, et cetera. We all know that. So now you have your account types, you have your rating, which is very important for that. You're going to create a custom field on the product, we call the golden field, but it's got the name of your product and then a drop-down menu of 7 fields. This will all be in the show notes, by the way, all this information. The address, okay, and then that, for the most part, if you just had those core fields, now you can run the business. Then, of course, you have your proper contacts associated with that account. And Tim, next topic is, what is the cost of not properly utilizing Salesforce? So you have it, but you're not really utilizing it, just from the standpoint of, because we wouldn't know what to do if we didn't have it. We wouldn't even know who to call on. We wouldn't know who to track.
I mean, the biggest cost is time.
Yeah.
You're going to lose a lot of time, right? Shuffling through notebooks and notes and Excel spreadsheets, right? Trying to just sit there and be like, when did I meet with that person? Oh, wow, it was actually 9 months ago. Felt like 2 weeks ago, right? So the biggest cost is your time. It's creating sales triggers. It's a leverage point, right? So, I mean, all we have is our time and our ability on a day-to-day basis to be out there reaching out to people, asking for meetings, selling, following up for meetings, right? So you don't want to spend it on menial tasks that a CRM can do for you.
So Tim, at the end of the day, the cost for not utilizing the CRM, Salesforce.com is huge.
Crucial.
This is a great, Tim, this is a great segue into, let's hear from the distribution leaders on how they feel about the utilization of Salesforce.com.
The CRM for us is 2 words, and it's operating leverage. It gives us leverage in everything that we do.
I look at the CRM as akin to the central nervous system of the body. It's the processing center. When built well, when simplified, it can be a tool that is incredibly powerful.
To me, the CRM is just going to be pure magic.
You quite frankly can't get out of bed in the morning if you don't have a CRM and you're not using it effectively.
If it doesn't go into the CRM, it didn't happen, and that's how we roll.
From our team, if it's not in the CRM, it didn't happen. Is the starting point.
If it's not recorded, it did not happen.
The people in my organization laugh. If you don't log it doesn't exist, right? Like that is our rule number 1.
I don't think in this day and age that you can maximize your opportunities for success without a very deep and detailed and thoughtful CRM system.
So you can see, Tim, the best in the business, they basically say, if it's not in Salesforce, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty powerful statement if you think about it, because it runs their lives. And when you ask them that question, you can kind of see they're almost like, duh, of course we do, right? But listen, we know 1, 2, 3 person sales shops can get frustrated. It's the wrong configuration. The data is bad, and they don't do it. But now you know the cost. Now you know the benefits.
Well, one thing just to add in on that, because I get asked quite a bit, is like, we have Salesforce, it's fine, the data's okay, but my sales team doesn't really use it. How does Dakota get their salespeople to use it? And it's pretty simple. We get compensated out of Salesforce. So if it's not in Salesforce,
right,
I don't get paid. Right, so on a quarterly basis, I better damn well make sure my information is tight and all the golden field's updated, my notes are in there, my pipeline is updated, right, with the correct numbers, right? Because if you want to drive usage, compensate out of Salesforce.
Good, so we talked about configuration and data. Clearly, if you use our Salesforce app from Dakota Marketplace, configuration's already built in, presto. Number 2, data's already there. We told you, if you're not going to use our Salesforce app, how to configure the account screen. But Tim, let's talk about the proper utilization from an inputting perspective.
Yep.
Okay, how to get the most amount of leverage out of Salesforce.com. So let's kick it off with meetings scheduled. So we're going to go through tactically.
Yep.
Okay, it's 5 things we're going to go through. So number 1, let's talk about meetings scheduled.
Yeah, so this is, you have the accounts, you have the contacts, all the data is in there, accurate, up to date, right? Tactically as a salesperson, how to use it on a day-to-day basis, right? From an inputting is your calls and meetings that you scheduled, right? So whenever you book a meeting with an allocator, putting that into Salesforce, it's in the future, right? So now you can see upcoming travel that you have or upcoming meetings. But more importantly is, once that meeting is completed, you can then run past activity reports. I mean, these are crucial in terms of sales process. 1, because you can share with your team your activity and what you've been doing.
You can access what you're looking for in the click of a button.
Instantly.
One report.
But then also is, again, to my comment prior, is sales triggers, right? You go to Chicago 9 months ago, but it feels like you were there 3 weeks ago, right? It's like, wow, I haven't talked to the Altair advisors in a few months. I need to get back to them, right? So the past activity reports, reviewing them weekly, but importantly, you got to make sure you're getting your activity into the CRM.
So 1, getting meetings scheduled in the CRM. 2, running past activity reports that trigger sales actions.
Yep.
3, as we've already spoken about, you need to create the golden field on the product, so product sales cycle field, so you can know at the account screen, so you can quickly run reports, penetration against typically a city, metro area, and a channel. So then you know where to hunt, if you will, because if there's 20 accounts you're calling on and half are in prospecting, you know who you need to be calling on. Yep. Golden field is 3. 4, pipeline reports. So as we all know from our Rainmaker training and our sales training, reporting up to the boss is critical.
Absolutely.
And being able to quickly run pipeline reports both for external communication, right? And so Tim, one critical thing about utilizing and mastering Salesforce.com is eliminating administrative work for yourself. A lot of people think, oh, I'm going to use Salesforce. It's going to create all this admin work. I'm an administrator. I only selling. Don't you want me in front of customers and clients? Look, we've heard all the excuses.
Yeah.
That's not the point. The point is utilizing a CRM is going to give you maximum leverage. Reporting up and down, I call it, right?
Yep.
Reporting up to the boss, pipeline reports, just talk about that. So you'll create opportunity reports.
So the opportunity reports, you've got your meetings in there. You did the meeting, you come out, you've got your notes. You create an opportunity with the appropriate stages, which we'll follow up with our stages, right? Which are closed won, finals, they might invest here soon. Red zone, they're doing the work pretty intensely. Due diligence, right? They met with a PM, they've got a DDQ. And then the other stages are kind of below, maybe not now or longer term. But again, getting those opportunities in there with very clean data on the contact related to opportunity, the potential amount, right? It might be a best guess at a certain point, a close date, which is crucial, but the most important field in the stage, but the most important fields are the current status and the next steps.
There's a text to
Two
custom
text
text
boxes.
boxes.
Yeah, and so
Current
then
status
next
and
step.
next step.
And running all of your opportunities, right? And you can splice it into different channels and different areas, but just to be more broad, the entire pipeline, that's where you can see on one screen, one click of a button, right? Here's the most near-term opportunities to close, or what has closed, or maybe some that might take a little longer.
Right, so we're talking about mastering Salesforce.com, Tim. First off, we're talking about configuring properly and then getting clean data into the database makes the whole thing function. The utilization is 1, around getting meetings scheduled and eventually meeting notes. That's 1. 2, running past activity reports. 3, creating the golden field. 4, creating pipeline reports to manage up to your boss, which is very important without having to do a lot of work. Because that's what people get bummed out about, is preparing for these meetings is a lot. But if the data is in Salesforce, you can just create the opportunity report, sort it and group it by sales cycle, current status and next step. Then all your information's right in front of you. That also triggers sales actions. And then lastly, being able to utilize it for yourself. So not only do you report up to your boss on a weekly basis, everything that's going on, and you look extremely organized, but you also use it internally for yourself to trigger sales actions to manage your pipeline.
And it's the sales triggers, managing the pipeline, and it's the daily reminders of like, oh wow, I need to follow up here, right?
Yep.
So it's massive leverage point.
So everything we've gone through, everyone, is in an effort to make a salesperson. Listen, if you work at a big firm, a lot of times if you're using Salesforce, you're forced to use it for good reason, right? It keeps you organized, keeps the organization organized. The information you're gathering, the company's paying for because they're paying us as salespeople to get out there and gather information, keep information in Salesforce. If you're a one-person sales team, it's a different conversation. You have to have the self-discipline to be able to use it. We're here to tell you and give you advice around configuration, around data. We do have a solution, our Salesforce app you can download. You get the entirety of our Dakota Marketplace database inside your Salesforce org, and it all happens within an hour, so that is killer. And you can get a demo at Dakota.com if you want to go that route. And then, as we just mentioned, the utilization of it, right, is all around entering very basic information and then creating reports based on that information to manage your day-to-day with very little looking for information. That's the key. It's all right in front of you. It is your operating window that you run your sales business from. So, Tim, can't thank you enough for joining another episode of Mastering Salesforce.com. So you can find this episode and all past episodes at Dakota.com. We're here to help you get the most out of Salesforce.com to create 10x leverage in your sales business. See you in the next episode of Mastering Salesforce.com. This episode is brought to you by Dakota Marketplace. Are you tired of constantly jumping between multiple databases and channels to find the right investment opportunities? Introducing Dakota Marketplace, the comprehensive institutional and intermediate database built by fundraisers for fundraisers. With Dakota Marketplace, you'll have access to all channels and asset classes in one place, saving you time and streamlining your fundraising process. Say goodbye to the frustration of searching through multiple databases, websites, Form ADVs, and say hello to a seamless and efficient fundraising experience. Sign up now and see the difference Dakota Marketplace can make for you. Visit Dakota.com salesforce.com/Dakota-marketplace today.